Hi, my name is Frank and I'm here to give you a brief overview of Powerline. Powerline is the first game in our Green Planet series. It's designed by Dirk Henn and plays 1 to 4 players. It takes around 45 minutes. Let's take a look. Build the energy supply of the future. You are tasked to build an efficient network of power lines to connect different power stations and supply cities with clean energy. The dice play an important role since they determine where and in which order you can develop your power lines. The game is played over 15 rounds, and in each round, players try to earn points by finishing up power lines. Once they are finished, a city is connected, and you will earn the points for that city. Once you finish up all power lines that are connected to a power station, you will earn the points for the station. There are also 2 mid and 1 end game scoring in the game that are all related to the 3 task cards in the middle. After the final scoring, you total up your points, and whoever has the most points wins the game. Now let's dive deeper into one game round. Each round starts with one player rolling the dice and placing them back down on the respective color fields on the board in the middle. Here, players can also take note of their victory points and keep track of the round they're playing in. The last thing the board holds are the task cards, and they tell the players where to focus their efforts if they want to earn a couple of extra points during those mid and end game scoring. Now everyone plans simultaneously their development of the power lines. Therefore, you would use your workers, but you have to respect the order. You can either go from left to right or from right to left. To place a worker, you have to make sure that the number on the same colored die is the same as the space you want to place your worker on. In this case, I would have 4 choices. I can either start a new line or continue 2 others and start a new one. When you continue a power line, you have to place the worker on a space that it is adjacent to the last placed tile. If you start a new line, you can start on either end. Then you would continue with the next worker, in this case the yellow one. If you cannot or don't want to place that worker, you have a choice. You can put him on the island, which then skips that worker, and you can go on to the next worker. But there's a catch. Each worker on that island will lose you 1 point at the end of the turn. Then you can go on and place the next workers. Once you have placed your workers and you're finished with planning, you wait for all other players to be finished. Once everybody is done, then you start exchanging the worker for power plant tiles. You take the worker back and place the tile on the board. And the last one is you count your minus points for each worker that is on the island. Then we continue on to the next round. There are 2 more important things you have to keep track of in each round. The first thing is that you cannot place workers on more than 3 lines each round. If you manage, you can place all 6 workers on one line or space them out, but not more than 3 lines. The second one is, once you're finished with your planning phase, you count the number of workers on the board and on the island, and then from the worker chart, you take the corresponding chip and discard it. That means that you have fewer options in the subsequent rounds to choose how many workers you can place. If I would place another time 5 workers, that would mean that for the rest of the game, I cannot place 5 workers anymore. I would either have to go to 4 or 6 workers. If you only place 1 worker, you unlock a joker. This joker can be used to alter any die result for you to any number that you want. Another great thing about Powerline is that once you have played a couple of games and are familiar with the mechanics, you can tailor the experience to your liking by introducing a couple of the modules that are included with the game. For example, you can flip your player board and then you would have a different worker chart. Normally, you can place your workers on up to 3 lines. Here you have restrictions. If you place 3 or 4 workers, you can only place them on up to 2 lines. If you want to place on 3 lines, you have to use 5 or 6 workers. Then we have the task cards in the middle of the board. For the base game, these are printed on the board because we recommend them for the first couple of games. But once you're familiar, you can also flip this board and use one of the other cards. These have all different tasks and make you think differently throughout the game. You would shuffle those cards and take 1 card of each color to be present in the game. That concludes our brief overview of Powerline. More information you can find here on the page. Thank you for watching.